Hey everybody, Gilroy Hollister here. In this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about getting better tone on your steel guitar. So if you're a beginning steel player who is trying to find good tone, or if you've been playing a while and can't find it, maybe this video will help you a little bit. So tone is very subjective, so it's not going to be this is a right or wrong tone, but it'll help you find a tone that you like. The thing about tone is that we all play off our tone, meaning if we feel our tone is better, then we play better. So that makes it something that you want to spend some time working on. And if you play one well-chosen, really nice sounding note on your steel guitar, that's going to show a lot more emotion and sound a lot better than 100 really fast notes or that same single note played with bad tone or out of tune. So you want to spend some time, I think, especially as a beginner, with good habits and with good tone. And that's what I'm going to try to show you and help you with a little bit in this video. So let's see how this goes. Okay, there's three things that affect your tone. And that would be where you play, what you play, and how you play. So starting with where you play, your tone's going to be a little different in a room like this where it's carpeted and there's drapes on the walls and pictures hanging up and drywall and stuff. It's going to sound different than you would if you were out in a garage with concrete floors and walls and steel garage doors. And that's going to be a little different than if you're outside playing on a flatbed trailer or something where sound doesn't bounce back off of anything. So you're going to want to adjust your tone, your bass treble a little bit. Also your reverb and your delay. So if you're already getting a lot of echo in a room, you don't want to add to that. So that's about all that needs to be said about that. You just need to know you need to adjust for the room. The next thing is probably the easy part. That's buying good tone. And that'll be what you play. From an expense point, it's not easy, but easier than the last one, which is how you play. So what you play, we'll start with the guitars. I would first of all buy a guitar that is not real old and it's hard to find parts for. I would not buy a push-pull Emmons. Those things are hard to get used to. So get something simple, probably 4 knee levers, 3 paddles. Try to keep them if you're buying a brand new guitar, something that's similar that you can, is a setup that is somewhat familiar. So every time you get a guitar, you're not having to readjust everything. So like the knee levers especially. Also, the heights of steel guitars are different. This GFI is about 2 inches taller than my Showbud, and this is easier for me to play just because I guess, I don't know, I'm 6 feet tall, so it just fits me better. And the best way to pick out a guitar, if you're just going to go on Craigslist and buy a guitar and then go buy an amp and hope to get good tone, it's probably not going to happen. It's too much of a long shot. So what you should do is go to a steel guitar store that has a lot of steels, like Steel Guitars of Nashville I think they're north of Nashville in Hendersonville, or out on my direction in the Midwest, Billy Cooper's in Virginia. They've got a lot of guitars, and you can go to a place like that, sit down, and play a lot of guitars through a lot of amps, and see which one feels right, which one is the right height, that you just feel comfortable when you sit behind it. If you're kind of new, and you don't feel comfortable playing the steel guitar because you're concentrating so much on playing it that you can't really listen to the tone, I'd go ahead and have one of the guys there it's Billy Cooper over at Billy Cooper's, or Bob Hemker is usually at Steel Guitars in Nashville. He was Loretta Lynn's steel guitar player for 28 years, and then he played for Roy Clark another 7 or 8 years, so he knows what he's doing, and you could let him sit down and play various steel guitars through various amps, and then when you say, "Ooh, I like the sound of that one," then sit down and play it yourself and see if you're kind of like him, get kind of the same sound that he can get. Maybe he can help you a little bit too with, maybe if you're doing something a little wrong. So that's how I would buy a steel. If you already have a steel guitar and you're just looking for an amp, you can take that amp to and I've done this before. You can take it to like what's a guitar place? Just any of one of the guitar stores, Sam Ash or something like that, and have about 3 or 4 amps in front of you. Bring a friend, and plug into each different amp and let him adjust the tones. And you just play them if you want, turn your back to them even. And then you pick out 3 of them, try them. If you like one better than the others, isolate that one off to the side, go pick up 2 more, bring them over, plug your steel into those, adjust the tone a little bit. Eventually you'll find an amp that you like better than all the rest in that store. It's a little time consuming, but and you're out in front of everybody playing your steel, but if you can do that, that's a way to find an amp. If you don't want to go to a place like Steel Guitars in Nashville or Billy Cooper's. Also, if you just want to take my advice on something, I've got 3 PV amps that I do like a lot. A Vegas 400 is a big one, Nashville 400, and another small 112. But I got a Katana, it's a Boss Katana 100, and you can set it for 0.5 watts, 50 watts, or 100 watts. It's a great amp to practice with in your house at the lower setting, and then if you get in a bigger room, 50 watts, a bigger room, 100. So what you're not doing is turning the amp all the way down in the house to where you don't have very good tone. You use it on the lower wattage setting. It also has a really nice built-in reverb and digital delay, several kinds of those. And that amp kind of serves all the purposes. It's got a 12-inch speaker. I think for most beginners, that's a great amp. It's only $360. I don't think you can go wrong with it. It has a record out, so when you plug the record out into your studio, if you do that sort of thing, record yourself, it cuts the speaker off for you. So anyway, there's a lot of advantages to that I really like that little amp. And Bob Kempker down at Steel Guitars in Nashville talked me into that amp. He likes it a lot too. I think a lot of guys are playing through that amp now. So that would be a recommendation if you just want to take a chance and buy an amp. I don't think you can go wrong with that one. You're going to find that you like the tone of it. The next thing, let's see, we got a little note here so I wouldn't forget. Strings, yeah. So steel guitar strings, most guys don't change their strings often enough. I mean, at least change them once a month, but bad strings are going to affect your tone. The strings I use are George L's stainless E9th chromatic. It's E9th chromatic Nashville. They're only like $7 and something from Billy Cooper's, so those are good strings. I've tried a set of these GHS, put them on my show, but I did not like them. So I don't know. For what it's worth, doesn't mean you won't like them. You might sound great on your guitar. So anyway, that's just my experience on it. Let's see. Also on your amps, I chipped a couple of amps. I chipped my Nashville 400. Didn't help it a whole lot, but I chipped the Vegas 400 and it helped it a lot. So I used Ken Fox chips. You pull the control board out of the cabinet and change about 6 of the chips, put it back in. That can help. They're not very expensive. I think it's less than $50, it seems to me. You can also, when you've got that amp, the control part of your amp out of the cabinet, you can use contact cleaner, electronic contact cleaner, and you just spray all the knobs. There's usually little holes and little spaces in there from the backside while you've got that out of your cabinet, and spray that into each one and turn them, because a lot of times you'll find your amps are, when you turn the volume, tone controls, it just drive you nuts, and that affects your tone, it affects your volume, so that'll help the tone of your amp some too. I also use, in a live situation, and I don't use it for tone so much, but it's a steel driver 3, and they're pretty doggone expensive. But just clips to the side of your leg of your guitar. It's got tone controls and a volume control, just a tone control and volume controls. Also has a fuzz, so when you hit the switch up top, it'll give you the fuzz tone effect for single note, like sort of rock and roll-y, bluesy stuff. But yeah, you can change the volume of your guitar without, it's annoying when you're on stage and you're constantly reaching back or standing up and walking back and monkeying around with your tone and your volume. Nobody on stage needs that distraction, nor does the audience, nor does the singer. So it's not a bad thing to have attached to your guitar. You can change your tone a little bit while you're just right at the guitar. You reach down, change it, change your volume, and do the fuzz tone. I like this little thing. It kind of burns through 9-volt batteries, but if you leave the guitar plugs in the top, If you leave that unplugged, you won't go through batteries quite so quick. Let's see. On the tone controls on your amp, if you just want to kind of know what I do, I'm about 3/4 of the way up on bass, just past top dead center on mids, just past top dead center like at 1 o'clock on treble, and about top dead center on presence. And then I don't use a whole lot of reverb or delay. My delay is kind of like whop, 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 kind of like that. So the other thing I use a lot is when I'm learning songs is a Tascam. It's called a portable CD guitar trainer, CD-GT2. And you can buy them on Amazon. They're about $200. And what that does, you make a CD. So let's say I make a CD off of YouTube of a song. So I copy that and then onto a CD, it'll be a video, but I copy it as an MP3 or something file. And then make a CD out of it. And then I put the CD in here. And then when you play it through your amp, you can slow it way down, but it doesn't change the toning. So if it's in E, it'll still be in E, it'll just be slowed way down. So instead of notes flying by you real fast, you can slow them down. It has a timing button on it, and you can slow it down like 20 times slower or something. So that's a good little thing to have, this little Tascam. If you're trying to learn songs and you want to do something on your own, that's a great little gadget. The other thing I would say is keeping your guitar in tune. And that, when I tune my guitar, and I don't know if it's in tune now or not. It's terrible for me to say that, but if you're tuning this thing, and let's say you're going to use this tuner that I recommend, the Pedersen. I tune with my strings, I start with my pedals down. So if I'm going to tune my E string, I'll do it with the amp on so you can kind of hear it, but let me just find a pick here. So, hope I'm working. Okay, so that's my E, 4-string. If you play that now with I have my foot up off the pedals. When I push my foot down on A and B, that string goes flat. So if you're playing open with no bar and you're just playing E like this, and then you push your A and B down, you're going to sound flat. So in order to get that E to be a true E when your pedals are down, I start off with my pedals down. Then I tune that E string, and then when I tune my 3rd string, the B, I leave my A pedal pushed down. Then I tune that 3rd string to a G sharp. And then when I tune my 5th string, which is the B, I tune it with my B pedal pushed down. So I push the B pedal down, it flattens that just a little bit, and then it forces me to sharpen it up a bit. And on down. So when I tune the 7th string, both pedals are down. The 8th string, the E, both A and B are down. The 9th string, the F sharp, or the D, both of them are down. And then when I tune the top string, the bassiest string, I push down on my B pedal. So so I tune the guitar, all my open strings, but when I can, I'm pushing an A or a B pedal. And then I go through and I tune with everything with the pedals down. That way it just seems like you stay in tune better. Also, if you're gonna raise your E's either through a pedal or you're gonna raise them through a knee lever. So I'm raising my E's right there with the C pedal, or I'm raising it with a knee lever, raising it a half step there. It's what you want to do after you raise your E's, you always want to lower them. Find the first opportunity you can and just kick that knee lever over and lower them. Always tune your E, raise it, and then lower it and tune it. That way, because they always come back a little out of tune when you raise them. So as your ear gets better, you'll start to notice that. So it's just a little tip to help keep your guitar in tune when you're playing it. Anytime you raise your E's, lower them. Hit that knee lever that lowers them when you have a next opportunity you have. Doesn't have to be played. Just kick the knee lever. That'll keep you in tune on your E's. That may be just about it. Let me see if there's anything I might have forgot on that driver effects. Nah, I just keep my effects to a minimum when you start off, you know, but hey, that's all up to you. You know, tone is completely subjective. So next we'll move on to how you play.